why not get something for Juris Familia? I don't get it. Juris. Like I said, I know he's going to be a free agent at the end of the season.
Right.
You got to get something. You got to get somebody who at least has some kind of promise to be a major league player. And the two guys that they got from Oakland, I don't see it.
I don't either. But you know what? I think they're just looking to dump again. It's another dump thing.
Well, I mean, who's next? Cabrera's probably next. He's a serviceable
When's the
player.
draft? The trading deadline.
July 31st.
Okay.
Couple more. The week and a half or whatever it is. Yeah, about a week and a half.
Okay,
so that the Mets will be unloading more players. You can count on that.
I guess Syndergaard won't be part of that.
No, he might be. He and DeGrom are by far the best assets the Mets have.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
I know what you're referring to is the illness.
How do you get that?
The hand, foot, and mouth, which is also called the Coxsackie virus.
Yes.
I mean, he did a kids camp during the All-Star break.
Right.
And this is all the more reason for Syndergaard to stay healthy and actually make the All-Star team, so he doesn't have to do stuff like this and get ridiculous illnesses.
That's true. If he made the All-Star team on it, he would have.
He wouldn't have had to do a kids camp. Then it would have been, I don't know, take your pick. It would have been Jerry Blevins or Jason Vargas or somebody like that. And if they would have gotten hand, foot, and mouth disease, people would have been saying good.
Oh God!
But that is the most ridiculous illness.
Well, look at the symptoms. You got fever, sore throat, feeling unwell,
yes,
malaise, a red rash. That's like what the Mets are.
Lesions on the tongue, gums, and inside the cheeks, which are very painful. So believe me when I say Syndergaard's probably drinking a lot of milkshakes and Slurpees and cold stuff just to calm that down, because he's probably going to lose a little weight while he's doing this.
I've lost weight.
So, well,
hopefully
it's not from having hand, foot, and mouth disease.
And before we go to the break, we were talking last week about Manny Machado being sent away from the Orioles. And
let's keep it Mets, because we got Cespedes is also. Cespedes is talking about having surgery on both of his heels.
Yeah, that's true.
He's got calcification, apparently. I can tell you from firsthand experience, heel pain is no joke.
Nope.
Apparently Cespedes, when they say calcification, they're basically talking about bone spurs. And I know our president is famous for his bone spurs that got him out of serving in the military. But apparently Cespedes is the calcification that's happening when it gets aggravated, which obviously it will when you're a major league player and you're running all the time and standing in the outfield. That will aggravate the situation, and apparently these pieces of bone are rubbing or pressing into his Achilles tendon, which will just make it even more painful. Now there are ways to try to alleviate some of the pain, be it orthotics or some sort of massage treatment, stretching, whatever. I'm not sure why Cespedes is so gung-ho on surgery unless he just wants to sit out for a year, because the recovery on the procedure that he's talking about would be 8 to 10 months. So it's July.
Might as well quit right now.
So it's July, and if you do it, first of all, if you do surgery now, which the Mets aren't going to do,
why not?
You're maybe back for April, because there are ways of doing it without surgery. And the rehab and the recovery could wind up being a year, like a full year.
Oh, okay.
So the 8 to 10 months is basically a guess, because it would depend on how much they need to do once they get into the foot, and you can't really tell that until you actually get into it. So if you can rig up some kind of orthotic or something, and that alleviates the pain, then why are you going to do surgery? Foot surgery, again, that's also no joke. I mean, that's you don't move around without your feet, and if you have both of them operated at the same time, I know Cespedes is rich, and he can hire people and just send him wherever he needs them to go, so that he doesn't have to get up and walk around.
I have had problems with my feet. You have too. And when I've had problems with my foot, I couldn't walk on it. You saw me.
Right.
You literally Timmy had to carry me.
That was rough.
Yeah. So we're gonna take a break right now. You're listening to From the Press Box right here on 90.3 WHPC, streaming on the iHeartRadio app. Also, go to our website, nccradio.org, to find out some of the great programming we have here at WHPC.
All hit music.
For all those songs radio has forgotten about, join me, Big Ed, Mondays from 10 a.m. till noon for The Good Gold Show. We'll bring back all the great hits of the 50s, 60s, 70s, and more. The sounds of doo-wop to disco, all the Motown, soul, and great rock and roll. We'll even take your requests and dedications to The Good Gold Show.
Music.
On the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC, and streaming on the iHeartRadio app.
This is the Nassau Morning Madhouse.
To me, that's so cool because when you see pigeons in New York, they're kind of like the people. Like, they look like they're on a mission. They're in a rush.
They're in a hat and suit, carrying a briefcase, gotta go to work.
This was brought to you by the Turnt Association, providing you proper ways on how to get turnt and unturned.
See, I love this. You want to know what's funny about that? Is it's only making you guys laugh, not everybody else. So obviously you're doing something wrong.
What are you talking about?
The voice of Nassau Community College.
90.3 WHPC.
Answer me! Who taught you to listen to Radio Rumble at 12 p.m. on Saturday afternoons?
You, all right? I learned it by watching you.
I'd
buy that for $1.
The Radio Rumble has it all.
Humanity will suffer with me.
Movie reviews.
No kind of Sandys, you're wrong.
Sports talk.
Hi, sports fans. I'm Doug Prish-Preed.
Awesome music.
Excellent!
So listen, Saturday afternoons at 12 p.m. for The Radio Rumble on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
I learned it by watching you.
Welcome back to From the Press Box right here on 90.3 WHPC. Streaming on the iHeartRadio app, on Spreaker as a podcast later. I'm Rob Leonard. That's Tim Leonard. If you have a comment or question, give us a call, 516-572-7440. Brother, we were talking about, just quickly, Manny Machado has been traded to the Dodgers from the Orioles.
How about that?
5 prospects. You see, they get 5 prospects.
No, you see, here's
also Manny Machado.
Here's where I need to educate, brother. More prospects isn't necessarily a good thing.
Well,
you want one good prospect, and the Dodgers did get the Dodgers actually got a couple good prospects. Yosniel, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Yosniel Diaz, who was the Dodgers' number 4 prospect. Good hitting outfielder, is now the Orioles' number 2 prospect, which tells you how bad the Orioles system is. And they also got Dean Kramer and Rylan Bannon, who both of whom are regarded as above average prospects. Those two, I forget where they wound up in the Orioles farm system, but it was I want to say 15 and 17, which is marginally better than the guy the Mets got from the A's, but both of those players were spoken of a little more highly. And the Dodgers system is also better than, well, the A's system is decent because the Yankees traded him a bunch of guys for Sonny Gray, but far better than the Mets system for sure. So,
right. And this, I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but we do know that next year the Mets AAA team moves from Las Vegas to Syracuse.
Can't wait.
And they're not going to call them the Chiefs, from what we've heard. The history of that city has always been, the Syracuse Chiefs. Matter of fact, I believe the Yankees minor league team was called that when they were in Syracuse.
Way back when.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if that has anything to do with it. Maybe they have to bring different people in, or maybe the contracts are up. I don't know, but just something to think about. Anyway, brother, let's quickly talk about the All-Star game, which happened last week. Always a lot of fun to watch, even though I'm not into the game as much as I used to be, and that has to do everything with interleague play. But it's still a fun thing to watch because the players really don't care. All-Star games are kind of fun. The NBA has always been the best one because the NBA is You know,
I don't know about always, but
no, it's like 140 to 138 or something. Yeah, that would play defense.
I don't know. There would be a lot of people that disagree with you on
there's no
how entertaining that
there's
is.
There's no defense, and everyone's just shooting. No one cares.
It's street ball, and it's street ball with no defense. At least in street ball, some guys will play defense.
That's true.
I mean, the All-Star game, I thought it was entertaining, but I will say I was a little horrified when it went to extra innings.
Yeah,
because it was kind of like, all right, I'd really kind of like this game to be over by now. American League wins 8-6, 10 home runs in the game, much like any baseball game, or this is how the sport has gone. Home runs, a lot of home runs. Alex Bregman and George Springer, both of the Houston Astros, hit back-to-back home runs off of Dodgers pitcher Ross Stripling in the 10th inning, and that gave the American League the win. Scooter Gennett of the Cincinnati Reds hit a home run off of Edwin Diaz of the Mariners in the bottom of the 9th inning. That tied the score at 5-5. Aaron Judge hit a home run off of Max Scherzer, and that was the first of the 10 home runs that were hit. Max Scherzer said in an interview during the game that what's his name, Ken Rosenthal did an interview with Max Scherzer in the dugout, and Scherzer said of Aaron Judge's home run, "I learned my lesson." Like a lot of pitchers before you there, Max, buddy. So, home runs, a lot of them. As I semi-predicted last week, Bryce Harper won the home run derby.
Right.
I did predict Kyle Schwarber of the Cubs. He made the finals. Good, making me look good. Thank you to the Schwa, as I like to call him. And I also said that Rhys Hoskins was going to upset number 1 seed Jesus Aguilar, and he did just that. So I think I did pretty well with my predictions last week.
Brother,
we got a caller?
We have a caller.
Let's hear the caller.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
He's supposed to say that.
Well, welcome, Mike from Massapequa. How you doing?
Doing well, man. I'm doing well. I'd also just like to give my opinion of the All-Star game.
I do recognize that voice.
Marketing, promotional event.
Right.
Of meaninglessness. Just as home runs hype the game up to put fans in the seats. But I'd like to get to the Mets, Tim. I'd like to think, what is your opinion of giving away Jeremy and did we even get anything in return?
No, the trade was garbage. I don't know what the Mets were thinking. We were just actually talking about that. But I don't know what the Mets were thinking as far as, all right, let's take a fringe and a semi-fringe player back from Oakland and $1 million of international bonus slot money, which maybe they get a good player with that, and maybe they have a player in mind who they're looking to sign and they needed more money to sign him. But as of right now, those two prospects, we'll be lucky to see either one of them in the major leagues.
They'll be collecting dust.
Well, they'll be collecting a minor league
but
salary.
I personally think what they did was they got him. They'll get rid of him in a few weeks or a few months, and I think it's the money they wanted for the international.
Well, the prospects will stick around until they play themselves out of baseball.
They might just get rid of him. Who knows?
They don't do that with prospects.
Guys, the sad thing is, a few years ago, the Mets had 5 aces. Now they have 5 jokers in their hand.
It's
pretty much. Really sad, and they could have traded any combo of them for a Bryce Harper, a Mike Trout caliber player. But they sat on him, and now what do they have? One man standing.
Well, I mean, that was the plan. I mean, the Mets for the last 2 years, this has been a team that the entire hope was our pitchers will stay healthy and we will win a lot of games 3-2. And that's been their hope. And now they're in a situation, like you said, they basically have 2 pitchers.
They're a rehab team now.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Look at them. They're the worst team in the National League.
If they had any seriousness of contention for the future and trying to correct this and turn this ship around, they would have made a serious play for Manny Machado, who they should have gotten a few years earlier to fill the void at third base that's just being held down by Todd Zeile if he's still even in the lineup. If they were serious and build around a guy like that's in his mid-20s, that's a 5-star player that can throw, run, do it all.
Yeah, but that's a tough guy to get in any trade. I mean, you'd have to give up a ton.
They would have had him a few years ago for Wheeler and Harvey, and who would have been laughing now?
Well, Back then, I think they thought Wheeler and Harvey were going to be 40% of their rotation.
And also, Harvey.
Harvey's pitched well for the Reds.
Ever since he got traded, he's like pitched very well.
He's done fine. He hasn't been great, but he's been good.
But when he becomes a free agent at the end of the season, people are going to be saying, "Oh, maybe Matt Harvey can play again."
Well,
maybe.
The only thing that's going to happen is he'll get some money. He'll boost
well,
up his
that's true.
salary.